So yes, it looks like the Space Marine 2 dev team is currently hard at work on the next big update. We're going to talk about that. Plus, some new comments from the dev team about what they're looking into right now. And yes, we got some comments from guess who? The Helldivers 2 creative director about crossovers. And in the list, interestingly, is Warhammer 40K. We got to dive into this one. Plus, we're going to talk about free content coming up here in December. December is looking really, really good, and a bunch of other stuff. But you know what? Check this out right here. So guys, check this game out. It's an open world kung fu RPG game featuring some extremely unique combat with randomly generated enemies, the ability to tame and ride animals within a randomly generated open world. And this game is called The Matchless Kung Fu, and I want to give a huge shout out to them for supporting this video. And The Matchless Kung Fu has a very positive rating on Steam, with people describing it as a weird but fun game with fun gameplay and tons of variety. And one person describes it as a hidden gem that is awesome as it is weird, and another said they got it last night and couldn't put it down for nearly 4 hours. And one of my favorite parts of this game is the randomly generated open world, where you basically unlock new sections of the map as you progress, and you have the ability to choose what these new sections will be by choosing from various tiles, and these tiles will feature unique landscapes such as lava, rivers, streams, and so much more. And with the turn-based combat, you'll have to use everything to your advantage, including blocking, special attacks, and a variety of moves that you can chain together into combos. And you can ride a variety of different mounts, including wolves, dogs, chickens, monkeys, eagles, large wild boars, and you can even tame and ride dragons through special methods. So what are you waiting for? Join me and play The Matchless Kung Fu on PC today by downloading it using the link in the description below. And don't forget that Matchless Kung Fu will be 20% off from November 5th to November 19th. And again, a huge shout out to them for supporting this video. Okay, so we got to start off with what's going on immediately for Space Marine 2. So we got signs of that over on the SteamDB branches. As you can see right here, the dev team is currently hard at work on the next updates for the game. Only about 10 hours ago did we see them updating a bunch of stuff, and even 2 hours ago. So it looks like right now they're working on the upcoming patch. Now, a lot of you guys are wondering, hey, what's going to be coming up in the next update, in the next patch? Well, we do have some signs of this out on the Discord. Got a response here to your question. Here's the question. It says, are you able to say if the bug where the Ultramarine Heraldry DLC resetting has been acknowledged? Happened to me 4 times now. And the response is this: we definitely know about this, yes. So yeah, I've heard you guys actually mention that in my comments several times. So it's good to know that yes, this is on their priority list, and I would imagine they would want to get this updated before, of course, the Dark Angels content does drop here in December. More on the December content in just a moment, by the way, but we have definitely got to talk about this right here. Starship Troopers, Terminator, Warhammer 40,000, Helldivers 2 creative director reveals his dream crossovers. So yeah, my curiosity is definitely peaked now. Let's get into this article. It says smash hit co-op shooter Helldivers 2 seems ripe for a crossover, but which franchises might it partner with? That's a fun conversation players have been having ever since the game's explosive launch earlier this year. Now, Helldivers 2 creative director has had his say, revealing a number of intellectual properties he'd love to work with. In a tweet, Arrowhead CCO and Helldivers 2 creative director Johan Pilestad cautioned against doing too many crossovers, saying it would dilute the IP and make it a not Helldivers experience. However, he also published an extended list of IPs he really would love to do a take on, and this includes Aliens, Starship Troopers, Terminator, Predator, Star Wars, Fifth Element, Blade Runner, and there it is, Warhammer 40K. And then we got Trench Crusade, Mutant Chronicles, Drop Zone Commander. But yeah, it would be really cool to see Space Marine 2, Warhammer 40K team up with Helldivers 2, simply because they're such big franchises and they are very big cooperative experiences. Now, would this realistically happen? We'll have to see, because you also have to remember they're also in competition with one another in some way, shape, or form. But most notable from that list, in my opinion, Starship Troopers is a huge matchup there, of course. That would make a lot of sense. But this article is interesting because it goes on to tell us how a crossover would actually work if, say, Warhammer 40K were to team up with Helldivers 2 in the future. So let's get into this. It says, it's easy to see how many of these franchises would work with Helldivers 2. Starship Troopers is the obvious choice. Couldn't agree more, given Helldivers 2 riffs so heavily on the cult classic sci-fi flick. Terminator 2 seems an easy pick, given the automaton alien enemy are basically Terminators themselves. Aliens, Predator, and Star Wars are fun to think about, but my favorite is Warhammer 40K. It would be amazing to drop down into a planet overrun by Tyranids or Necrons as an Imperial Guard soldier, complete with lore-accurate weapons, vehicles, and of course, dialogue. Yes, Warhammer 40K fans do have a wonderful and hugely successful Space Marine 2 to play right now, but that's a Space Marine game. Helldivers 2 is near enough an Imperial Guard game already. I drop $1 or 10 on an Imperial Guard crossover in a heartbeat. What do you guys think? Would you like to see something like this happen? Let me know in the comments down below. Now, also it says, which brings us to the next question. How might Helldivers 2 do crossovers if it ever came to it? In a subsequent tweet, Pasha suggested it would come in the form of a war bond, Helldivers 2's take on the battle pass, or even individual superstore items. Here's the quote: having a full Starship Troopers war bond with mobile infantry armor, voices, and weapons would also be cool. And then he says, nothing decided yet, just musings. But to me, it sounds like they're definitely mulling this one over, and perhaps discussions might be more serious with some of these franchises. Only time will tell what happens with this one, but it would be so cool to see something like this happen in the future where two communities could kind of like get together in a way. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about that one. But we also got to talk about those free December updates, because December is going to be very big for free content for Warhammer 40K. So check this out right here. This article goes on to say this: one of the key additions in December update is the Dark Angels chapter pack. And yes, the Dark Angels pack is definitely something players are looking forward to, but that's not all that is happening in December, because you got to remember this right here. Now, it says, in response to player feedback, Saber Interactive has also confirmed that they are currently fine-tuning the mechanics of blocking weapons to address concerns about their current performance and making them more satisfying to use. Now, Space Marine 2 has not just remained stagnant following its initial launch, rather, it has experienced continuous growth. The game's expansion through added content and updates has kept the community vibrant and engaged. And you also got to remember that on top of all this, we are getting that brand new operation as well, which still blows my mind that they're actually going to be adding an 8th operation in 2024. Man, let me tell you what, Saber is working overtime on this one. So yeah, looks like December is going to be shaping up very nicely. Now, also, we have this right here. Check it out. Just a thought on the UI. Am I crazy? Or does this seem simple enough to add, but potentially very helpful? Might help encourage those just starting out in operations, not just to jack executions or to highlight who would best benefit from picking up an armor boost. I'm not too sure why this isn't in the game already. As you can see, the suggested addition is definitely showing the armor status of your team. It is so invaluable to have that feedback to really gauge and know who needs to set up for executions and if you need to hold back or not. I just think that is something that needs to be added in the next update immediately. And we have a response here as well. It says, yeah, I was surprised when I saw it wasn't a thing. I personally also think they should add a bar to show ability percentages as well. Yeah, you know, that'd be huge to know when someone needs their ability recharged. And then you can have like this better ebb and flow and understanding your team synergy, when to hold back, when to engage your abilities and executions. It's just really critical feedback that I think could be huge for the quality of life of the game. Now, also, let's talk about PvP, because players are talking about this one. The state of PvP is actually depressing. Let me know if you've ventured into PvP recently. I know I haven't personally, because I want to start out by saying I really like PvP in Space Marine 2. It's what most of my playtime has been spent on. I want nothing more than for this game mode to be as good as it possibly can. But just, come on, man. PvP is so close to being the best PvP mode I've played since Titanfall 2. All the weapons are so much fun. The few maps and game modes are good. Movement and animation is great. But it's all just ruined by a few awfully balanced abilities and weapons, as well as the worst matchmaking I've ever encountered in a PvP game ever, and it's only gotten worse as the player count has dwindled. Just earlier today, I ended up in a match where the opposing team was just 5 level 25s, and a level 1. The highest level on my team, apart from me, was like 7. How is this reasonable matchmaking? Then I tried to quit from the lobby and load into another one on quick play, mind you, and I loaded into the same lobby. Yikes. How is this acceptable matchmaking? Just a match or two later, I loaded into a capture and control match with the enemy team being at 197 points and my own being at 0. I only ended up being able to walk around for 5 to 10 seconds before the match ended. If I'm not mistaken, the marketing showed PvP as a main part of the game. Why is it this neglected? If a game is sold at AAA prices, then it better have AAA levels of polish. That means a proper PvP mode. If advertised as having one, 3 maps is just not enough. Matchmaking and spawn logic allowing spawn camping so bad it would make Halo CT blush is not enough. I love the PvP and how it feels so much. Why does it have to get shafted like this? Sad face. Yeah, you know, I would love to venture more into PvP. I mean, for what it is, I enjoy it. Jumping into PvP every now and again as a casual experience. It's definitely not a super hardcore PvP experience where you're going to get a lot out of like progression and that sort of thing. And the good news is, at the very least, in 2025, we will be getting new PvP content. So there is that. But I know the majority of you, at least I'm certain, are not in PvP for this game. You're probably in PvE for the most part. The biggest question is, do you think they should put more resources into PvP like this post is suggesting, or do you think they should actually back off of PvP and triple down on PvE content? Is that something you guys would like to see instead? I am extremely curious about your take on this one. It's always a big discussion. I love that they tried to go after this and do basically everything, but at the same time, it does spread the development team thin, and then the content can also feel like it's being spread thin, because you got to remember, like, dev time put towards a PvP map could have been put towards, you know, another operation or even like a new horde map, that sort of thing. So yeah, sound off in the comments down below. But you know what? Mentioning new content, a lot of you guys want to see this. Dreadnought this, Terminator that, Win Centurion Warsuit. I know they won't add it, but imagine the salvation we can bring in the name of the Emperor. But someone says this: it should be a special ops PvE. Centurion are used to punch through fortification with their mounted meltas. I mean, there could be a scenario where Titus is sent to retake an Imperial bastion, fall into some Chaos Warband or Heretics, and they have to fight in tight corner against Warp Horrors and other Chaos stuff. But just like the Terminators, they are used under the right circumstances because of how precious, costly, and rare they are, usually reserved to the first company, the elite of a chapter, and used in the most extreme condition out of necessity. It would be possible, but it would have to be an ops specifically designed for it. We want to keep everything lore-wise tight. I believe he's saying tight there. Couldn't agree more about keeping it within the lore. That is always super important, but you know, maybe they can add in the ability to call in reinforcements as well. That's another thing that would be cool. I know that's very Helldivers, but there's a lot of potential for that. Being able to call in, you know, complete armies and this sort of thing that we are seeing right here. This would just be absolutely badass to be able to call this guy in. But more so, I think you guys want to be able to control him as well. So yeah, I would love to be able to have a moment where I don't know if it would be timed or what have you, but to be able to have that chance to at least control him on the battlefield during a certain moment in, you know, an operation. That'd be neat. We can only dream. And a lot of you guys want to see the auto cannon from the first Space Marine make an appearance in this one. Slow firing, high damage, high recoil auto cannon. They are interested in adding new weapons to the game. We don't know what we're getting beyond, of course, the new pistol that we're going to be getting here soon. But remember, if they do add more weapons, they would be free. So at least there's that. But this would be badass to see for sure. But I got to say this. If they do add any more weapons into the game, I do want to see weapons that can actually be added to every single class universally. That's the one big problem with the Neo-Volkite weapon, is that it will only apply to 3 classes. So, you know, the next one in rotation, I personally think, after the Neo-Volkite, should be something that could be added to every single class to make everyone happy. But that's just my 2 cents on that one. But anyway, now it's time to go over your top comments. Remember, leave a comment down below. It could end up right here in a future video. All right, so here we go. So the first one is this one. The devs don't get enough love for how they handle the community. You know what? Recently, they have been absolutely nailing it so far, and they've kept some things kind of as a surprise. I am still blown away how they have just like kind of like nonchalantly said, yeah, here's going to be an 8th operation for you all. It's going to be free, and we're going to be releasing it, it looks like, before Christmas. So that is absolutely huge. And the way they also handle themselves in controversy when they do make mistakes, they're very humble. You know, they're not arrogant. They don't double down on their arrogance. They really do back off, and they are very fast at fixing their mistakes and reversing whatever they need to reverse. So yeah, kudos big time to the dev team for working overtime on this one. But also we have this one right here, full work main here. And to answer your question, yes, I'd personally prioritize color of cloth on the armor higher than banner customization. I'd ultimately like both, but being able to fully customize your Marine, regardless of what class you play, is a must. 100% agree, and a lot of you agree with this as well. 266 upvotes right there. And we also have, I want more frontline operations. Hopefully Horde mode has maps with a frontline where you fight alongside the guard. I really loved those moments in the campaign. I have seen this time and time again where you guys mention fighting alongside reinforcements, and that's why I personally think, again, it would be really badass to be able to like call in reinforcements in some way, shape, or form. And then also we have this one right here. Would be cool, this is a big wish, if you could recruit people's Space Marines as your bots, like the pawn system in Dragon's Dogma. And when people successfully complete an operation with your Marine, you get something like an armory data or something for the level of OP they completed. Dude, this idea right here like literally gives me goosebumps reading it. I freaking love, absolutely love that idea. I hope Saber is paying attention to that one in particular and they have that jotted down. That would be freaking badass to see in this game. Yeah, even like you can carry over all of your customization as well onto the bot. Dude, that would be sick. But anyway, love that idea so much. Because, you know, also, I do love Dragon's Dogma as a franchise. Yeah. But anyway, here we go. It says, I would love to see more missions actually playing the Cadians, escorting armored columns or holding or taking objectives together to Call of Duty-ish. No, you know, I love that idea, you know. But yeah, some of my favorite modes involves actually escorting something throughout like an entire map. It feels like a journey. And I think that would liven up a lot of the spaces here in Space Marine 2, the operations. But I don't know, the current operations right now, I don't know if they're built for that sort of thing or not. Yeah, it would be tricky just plopping that into these current existing operations. So I think they would have to probably build like new maps for that. Maybe they could use something from the campaign. I don't know. But yeah, there it is. Thank you all so much for watching. Stay tuned here for more Space Marine 2 news and updates. I have you guys covered, and I will see you all next time. Take care.